Hi guys, welcome back to episode 5 of Textile Sector series. So in today's video, we are going to be covering another two B2B companies, namely Pearl Global Limited, Pearl Global Industries Limited and Gokal Das Exports Limited. Okay, so let's get on with Pearl Global Limited. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है इस company में? What is the deal like? Okay, so first let us understand the business model. Okay, Pearl Global that is there. This is a completely good manufacturing B2B manufacturing company है. Okay. So basically what they do, they have all these tie-ups with different brands, such as, just giving you a few examples like Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger and all of these brands. These people, what they do, they take care of the entire manufacturing for them. Okay, Tommy and CK will tell them ki like, bhai, mujhe I need so and so kind of clothes, I need shirts, I need dresses, so what these people do is they have a design team. So they get into the design aspect of the team, right? Once it is designed for them, they get an approval from the brand. Then they go source the material. They source the material from Hong Kong, China, these parts of the world. And after that, they get it into their plant, they manufacture it and they send it to the brands. Okay. So this is what Pearl Global does. Basically, they take care like entire एक brand का जो है design and manufacturing part that is there, they take care and they send it to the brand. Okay. Now, if you look at them, this is a very unique company because I'll tell you, I don't think anybody in I think other than PDS Limited, I think nobody has so many manufacturing facilities in so many different places in the world. Okay, so if you look at them, these people manufacture, like I told you, men and women clothes for various brands. Other than that, the company has 23 manufacturing facilities. Can you believe 23? They have manufacturing facilities in Bangladesh, in Vietnam, in Indonesia and India. Now when you compare, they have, like I told you, they have around 4 places. In these 4 places they have this manufacturing unit. And यहाँ पे if you look at it, 75% उनका revenue आता है from export, that is from Bangladesh, Vietnam and Indonesia. यहाँ से 75% का उनका जो export होता है, the garments gets manufactured and goes to the brand. The rest happens from Indian का plants. India में जो उनका plants है, it happens from there. Okay, so I hope you understood this part. Okay, now other than that, like I told you, they have design offices. Like I told you, they have design offices in US, UK and Spain and Hong Kong. So basically, first, like I told you, they design. Once they design in these offices of theirs, they send it to the brand, they get the approval, they go to China, Hong Kong, all these places, they get the fabric, get it to their plants either in Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia and India, manufacture the clothes and they send it to the brands that is there. So you understand now what is the business model of Pearl Global. Okay, now let us straightly dive into the numbers itself, like how has the numbers been. Okay, again, this is one such company like we saw in if you look at the entire B2B space as of now, we have done Bella Casa, we have done Kitex, which is Viola, like very good set of numbers. Bella Casa and Kitex beats everybody. Then we had SP Apparels, the third one, where okay, sales growth hai, things are happening for them, capex is there and everything, but because of their own brands, the bottom line is a big question mark over here, and the EPS growth in the future is also a big question mark. Then we come to Pearl Global Industries, which is similar to the likes of Bella Casa and Kitex with a lesser growth rate, I would say. But having said that, it becomes like tick 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 again at all points. Okay, पहला बात करते हैं sales का. You see that the sales that is there has grown by 25% on a year-on-year basis, and the PAT that is there, PAT also grew by 43%. Now let's talk about the volume growth. यहाँ पे volume growth क्या है? How many pieces you did last year, how many pieces did you production में था आपका, versus right now how many pieces you have manufactured या production में you have done, right? Last time it was 27.3 million pieces and this time it was 36 million pieces. So the volume growth is also very strong. Volume growth is how much? 31.8%. And remember one thing, in all of these B2B companies, your volume growth is the most important parameter because आपका value growth नहीं है, because you're working with a brand, right? What happens is you agree कि like करे इतना pieces है, you're going to cost, ये already pre रहता है, it is already done. Okay, so you can't go there and start to like argue with them, start to like negotiate with them. So यहाँ पे value growth is very less. That is why you will see most of them have a PAT margin of like 5%, 6%. Very rarely you come across a company यहाँ पे where the PAT margin is north of 10%. Very 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 rare, but it is the nature of the business model, you can't really help over here. Okay, so over here also you see volume, sales growth है, operating leverage है, And along with that, if you see यहाँ पे क्या था over here, volume growth is also there. Okay, now this, why am I telling कि like यहाँ पे volume growth is actually a fantastic thing, and in spite of them doing 25%, where Bella Casa has done 60% is a big deal for them here, is because if you look at them, like I told you, unka plants are there in Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia. Now, in spite of having so many crises, and plant was shut down for a few days. I think for 8 to 10 days the plant was shut down, right, because of all the geopolitical conditions and ban and everything. In spite of that, they were able to get this volume growth. Can you imagine? And unhone bola, like I told you, Pearl Global had told कि like the fact that it is not a big deal for them that Bangladesh mein jo ho raha hai, because once that ban was lifted, they saw 97% attendance. And it also makes sense, right? Now think about this. If your country ka 15%, for Bangladesh 15% of the GDP comes from textile industry. Now you wouldn't be bonkers enough to ban that, right? Because if as a government you're banning that industry, aap kuch problem karte ho, then which means what? The people will be out of job. They won't be able to afford the basic things, right? जब आपका पेट में कोई छुरी मारता है, do you really think you'll go and support that government? I don't think anybody is that kind of foolish also. But that is why they've been telling कि like we understand कि like ये बांग्लादेश में इतना problem है, but do not also expect कि like एक ही साथ at a time कि like all the 100% of the shift would go to India, right? It wouldn't. Probably people would want to de-risk यहाँ पे, the brands that are getting manufactured, they want to de-risk, probably move some parts to other to different parts of the world, but maybe not 100% of shift you might not see from Bangladesh that is happening. So it is not as rosy as people claim it to be, either on X, or you see people on YouTube telling like, oh, Bangladesh mein problem aa gaya, so everybody in India will do well. It is not that easy. That is one. Second thing, even like we discussed in the previous video, right, कि like even if that Bangladesh mein, let's say that even that 20% का भी demand यहाँ पे आता है, right, again it becomes tough because we have other competitors यहाँ पे, Indonesia and Vietnam, because वहाँ पे labor cost is is not as expensive as India. And if in India you want to manufacture, you have to do it in T2 and T3 cities. Now even if you get manufactured in T2 or T3 cities, what is the problem? Labor ka issue hai, because the laborer can leave anytime and go. You do not have, you can't trust these people to work for you, or you can employ them for a period of time, right? So this is another problem that they have. So that is why they were telling like if even the 10% of the demand flows from Bangladesh to India, it is a big thing. Every company can do well, but don't expect like the kind of boom that you think it's as easy like, oh, T+1 from Bangladesh ho jayega, theek hai? So this is one thing to keep in mind, right? So now again, like I told you, these people also do not have any plan to like completely shift to India or anything, in spite because see, these people have, because all of the other companies that we saw, they have how do I put this, they have manufacturing facilities in India itself, whether वो SP apparels हो, whether वो Bella Casa हो, whether वो Kitex हो, Kitex is putting up this huge plant in Andhra Pradesh. Bella Casa is also doing the same thing in Rajasthan. I think in Rajasthan या Gujarat उनका है, right? So this is the one player that is there in Bangladesh. In spite of that, these people are not getting rid of all their manufacturing facilities and shifting to India, although India is where they are registered at, so you can imagine like if these people are only so bullish, then you can understand. So even here, in spite of that, these people are doing around a capex of 125 crore. Okay, so 125 crores in H2 alone. Bihar mein they are putting up a facility which will cost them 35 crore. Bangladesh mein, can you see, Bangladesh mein 70 to 80 crore. Abhi bhi, in spite of that situation, they are doing 70 to 80 crore. So 125 crore ka 80 crore ja raha hai Bangladesh mein almost. So you can imagine ki like how, what is their stance, and why would they say what they said in the con call. And along with that, Vietnam and Indonesia, they're targeting 20 to 25 crore. So this is the capex plan. Okay, so overall if you see, great sales growth hai, operating leverage hai, volume growth hai, capex bhi kar raha hai. They are not facing any kind of headwinds in terms of demand, although they are from a place, they are having manufacturing facilities from a place where there is dispute. Okay, the only thing I will tell you ki like yahan pe a little, I wouldn't say a red flag, okay, I do not know how to put it, not even disappointing, but the management has told ki like I can grow at 14 to 15%, 14 to 15% kind of sales growth until FY28. So the guidance is around 14 to 15% in sales growth. So the question really comes right now is, earlier I would say Pearl Global got that effect because that time Bella Casa was not there. Kitex so aage hai is year mein. Kitex started growing actually from Q1 of this year. They started putting up that guidance and very high sales growth and all. And Kitex nahi tha. Before that, Bella Casa was also not there. I think it's been what, like 4 to 5 quarters. I think more than 5 quarters, but utna nahi tha, right? Utna bhi sales growth unka nahi tha, I would say. I think Q3 or Q2 of last quarter, last year for Bella Casa was. So now, so this was the only player. Everybody's crying and everything. This was the only player at that time growing at least 20 to 25% kind of sales growth. Now, can you see, now there are other two players? So now the same 14 to 15% kind of growth for them, the guidance that they have given, becomes a little bit disappointing, because you have other two players over here in the race that has joined, that is Bella Casa and Kitex. These two have come in competition, and they are growing at way like 5x faster, because यहाँ पे इनका guidance is 15%, Bella Casa is growing at 60%, Kitex is growing at 60%. That is literally like 4 to 5x the growth rate of here, right? So you can understand, although everything is going well for them, they are very good, there is no problem over here, like very fantastic set of numbers and companies, right, they have done. But when there are these two players that are coming and growing at a faster rate, the money in the market will flow over here more compared to that in Pearl Global. Okay? So this is one thing. See, whenever you are in the market, understand one thing. It's not that you should do well. Like, it's not like aap apna, we always tell that you be better than what you were yesterday. So obviously Pearl Global is doing that. If you compare only Pearl Global's performance, it is good. But market is not just like, you grow better. Apna khud ka company mein koi problem nahi hai. That is not the one thing. You have to make sure that khud ka company mein koi problem nahi hai, and there is nothing wrong. You are doing exceptionally well. But also at the same time, you have to do exceptionally well compared to your peers also, which is the problem over here. Pearl Global is doing exceptionally well company, but having said that, when compared to their peers, probably not so great, right? So that is, it's a relative performance at the end of the day. That is what I can tell. So in terms of that, you can tell thoda sa wo growth rate jo hai aage jaake could be, wo 15% ka growth is a bit is compared to Bella Casa and Kitex is a bit disappointing. Okay, now I wouldn't say disappointing, I don't think is the right word, to be very honest, but it is what it is. I do not know which word should I use for that. Okay, yeah. Then the second company here we will doing is Gokal Das Exports over here. Now Gokal Das Export is also similarly is like a B2B company. Over here they have, unlike Pearl Global, they are more like, unka plant is there throughout India. Okay, so what